The words came through my phone speaker while I stood in line at the coffee shop, surrounded by strangers and holiday music. My mother's voice, bright and cheerful, talking to someone else entirely. "Oh, don't worry about the kids. Natalie already promised she'd watch all 5 of them so we can focus on hosting. She's such an angel." My hand tightened around my phone until my knuckles went white. A strange hollow sensation spread through my chest, like someone had scooped out my ribcage and left nothing but cold air behind. She wasn't even talking to me. She was on speaker with my sister, planning Christmas around my labor like I was a piece of furniture they'd already arranged in the room. I hadn't promised anything. 2 weeks ago, when she'd asked, I'd said I needed to think. I'd said I had plans. And somehow, in her version of reality, that had become a done deal. The barista called my name. I grabbed my drink with numb fingers, walked outside into the December chill, and finally spoke. "Mom, I'm on the line." The silence that followed lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then her tone shifted, sugar-coated and smooth. "Natalie, honey, I didn't realize you were still there. We were just talking about how excited everyone is for the holiday. The kids can't wait to see you." My name is Natalie. I'm 27 and I work 60 hours a week at a job that actually values my time. This is the story of how I stopped being my family's free childcare and made them finally see what they'd been taking for granted. Standing on that sidewalk with my coffee turning cold in my hand, I understood something I'd been avoiding for years. My mother had never asked me to watch 5 kids over Christmas. She had simply decided I would, announced it to everyone, and assumed guilt would handle the rest, the way it always had. "Mom," I said carefully, "I told you I have a trip planned. I've been saving for it all year." She laughed, that dismissive little sound I knew so well. "Oh, that. Well, you can move it, can't you? It's not like you have a husband or children to work around. Your schedule is flexible. Family comes first." Flexible. The word burned through me. What she meant was expendable. What she meant was that my vacation days, my savings, my carefully protected time off didn't count as real because I hadn't reproduced yet. "I can't move it," I said. "The tickets are non-refundable." "Natalie." Her voice dropped into that low, warning register. "Don't be difficult. Your sister and your brother both have families. They need a break. You're the only one who can handle all 5 kids at once. You know how they get when there's no structure." Behind me, a family walked past, 2 parents holding hands with a toddler between them, swinging the child up with each step. The kid squealed with delight. Nobody looked exhausted. Nobody looked like they'd been voluntold into happiness. "I never said yes," I told her. "You shouldn't have told everyone I did." "You didn't say no either." Her reply came fast and sharp. "And I know you'll do the right thing once you've had time to think about it. We're all counting on you." She hung up before I could respond, confident the guilt would work. It always had before. I stood there on the sidewalk, coffee going cold, watching my breath cloud in the air. For years, every holiday had played out the same way. My sister needed a night out, so I watched the twins. My brother double-booked himself, so I covered. Last Christmas, I'd skip my office party to drive 3 hours and babysit while everyone else went to a concert. The year before that, I'd spent New Year's Eve with a fever and 3 toddlers so my sister could have one evening of freedom. My phone buzzed. The family group chat lighting up with confetti emojis and excited messages about the big holiday plans. My brother wrote that he couldn't wait to finally relax. My sister posted pictures of the matching outfits she'd bought for the kids, and right there in the middle of the thread, my mother had written, "Natalie already promised to take all the kids so we can focus on hosting. She's such a lifesaver. We'd be lost without her." Promised. That word again. Something shifted inside me, not the dramatic crack I'd always imagined, but something quieter, a knot loosening, a decision clicking into place. That night, I called my best friend Diana. "You've got your family voice," she said instead of hello. "What happened now?" I told her everything. The phone call, the group chat, the way my mother had announced my sacrifice like it was already paid for. By the time I finished, Diana was silent for a long moment. "Nat," she finally said, "do you realize they do this every single year? And every single year, you let them." I did know. I just hated admitting it. "They treat you like a service," she continued, "not a person. If they respected you, they'd ask. They don't ask because they've never had to. You always cave. So what am I supposed to do? Just not show up? Why not? Diana's voice sharpened. They never give you warning before they dump their plans on you. Why are you the one who has to be considerate? After we hung up, I sat in my apartment staring at my laptop. The beach rental I'd been dreaming about for months was still open in my browser. Check in, December 23rd. Check out, December 27th. The exact window my mother expected me glued to a couch with 5 sugar-fueled children. My finger hovered over the confirm button. Then I clicked it. The next morning, my mother called again. Have you thought about what we discussed? I have, I said evenly. I'm still working some things out. Well, I already told your sister and your brother you'd do it. They're counting on you. We all are. Mom, I never said yes. You didn't say no, she repeated like it was a legal argument. And I knew you'd come around. You always do the right thing. There it was. That phrase. The right thing. As if the only acceptable answer involved me canceling my life. I'll let you know before the holiday, I said, and hung up before she could argue. If I told her about my confirmed booking now, I knew exactly what would happen. The tears, the guilt, the phone calls to every relative painting me as ungrateful until I caved just to make the noise stop. She never gave me warning when she volunteered me. She never checked how her plans would affect my work or my life. So I decided to give her the same courtesy she'd always given me. None. Christmas Eve morning, I woke up to sunshine and the soft hum of my suitcase wheels by the door. My flight was at 10 a.m. My mother still thought I'd be at her house by noon. Before I left, I opened the family group chat one last time. New messages had piled up overnight. My sister complaining about glitter, my brother whining about last-minute shopping, my mother's latest post. Natalie will be here tomorrow to take the kids so we can finish everything. Thank goodness for that girl. I opened a private chat with her. I wanted to remind you that I never agreed to watch the kids this year. I'll be out of town over Christmas. I hope you all have a great holiday, but I won't be babysitting. I attached a screenshot of my flight confirmation and a photo of my packed suitcase with my beach hat on top. The typing dots appeared almost instantly. Out of town? What are you talking about? You knew we were counting on you. I'm not changing my mind, I wrote back. I told you weeks ago I had plans. I'm just not canceling them this time. The accusations flooded in. Selfish, ruining Christmas. Her voice in my head, even through text. I put my phone on silent, grabbed my suitcase, and walked out the door. At the airport, I sat by the gate with my headphones in, watching holiday chaos swirl around me. Half an hour before boarding, I checked my phone. The group chat had exploded. Wait, what do you mean Natalie isn't coming? Mom, I thought you said she promised. You told us it was handled. For once, the frustration wasn't aimed at me. It was aimed at her. I typed one message into the group chat. I'm not a built-in babysitter. I love you all, but I'm not spending every holiday watching 5 kids while everyone else gets a break. I told Mom I had other plans. I'm on my way out of town. You'll need to figure something else out. My mom called before the read receipts even finished loading. I could hear chaos in the background, wrapping paper, cartoons, at least one child screaming. How could you do this to me? She demanded. Everyone is coming over tonight. The kids are already here. Do you know how much work I have? You should have thought about that before you planned everything around me without my consent. That trip is more important than your family? That trip is more important than being taken for granted. Stunned silence, then a crash in the background, a child yelling, something hitting the floor. This can't be happening, she whispered. It is, I said, and you made it happen when you told everyone I'd promised something I never agreed to. When my boarding group was called, I stood up and said the words I'd been afraid to say for years. I hope you have a great Christmas, but this year you'll have to figure it out without me. I hung up before she could respond. The plane landed 4 hours later to a slot machine of notifications, missed calls, voicemails, 43 messages in the family chat. I opened the thread. The first messages were confusion and blame. Mom, you said she promised. Why did you tell us it was handled? Then my sister, sounding genuinely shaken. We booked everything based on what you said. For years, I'd been so busy performing the role of dependable daughter that I hadn't realized I was also the scapegoat. the built-in solution whenever my mother overpromised. A video call popped up. Mom. I answered. Her face filled the screen, flushed and frantic. Behind her, the living room looked like a toy store had exploded. 2 kids wrestling on the floor, one crying on the couch, wrapping paper everywhere. "What do you think you're doing?" she demanded. I angled my camera just enough to show the edge of the pool behind me, the palm trees, the blue sky. "I'm on vacation," I said calmly, "like I told you I would be." She stared at the screen like she was looking at a crime scene. "You're really there." "I'm really here!" A scream rang out behind her. One of the twins shoved the other. Something crashed. "You should be here," she snapped. "This is your responsibility." "Why?" I asked quietly. "Because I'm the only one without a spouse? Because I don't have kids yet? Because you decided that makes my time worthless?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. "You know I can't do all this by myself," she said, falling back on her favorite line. "I thought you understood. I thought you cared." "I do care," I replied. "I've cared so much I lost count of the holidays I gave up, but I'm done caring alone." "Nat, you're punishing me." "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just refusing to keep punishing myself." 2 weeks after Christmas, she finally called again. Her voice was quieter this time. Tired. "Christmas was a disaster," she admitted. "Your brother and sister fought all night. The kids were out of control. I had to cancel dinner. Your father ended up making frozen pizzas while I scrubbed frosting out of the rug. I'm sorry it was hard," I said, "but I'm not sorry I wasn't there." "I know." Her voice wavered. "That's what scares me." She told me my Aunt Grace had confronted her. Apparently, Grace had been there on Christmas Day and witnessed the whole meltdown firsthand. She'd asked my mother why she thought it was my job to fix everything. Said she'd been doing this to me since I was a teenager. "What did you say?" I asked. "I said you were reliable, that you've always been the strong one, that you don't have as much going on." She paused, and Grace looked at me and said, "Or maybe you just assumed she didn't matter as much because she didn't complain." The silence stretched between us. I didn't realize how it sounded until I heard myself say it out loud. My mother whispered, "Like your life was less important because it was simpler to use you." Use. The word dropped like a stone. "You could have asked," I said. "You could have treated my time like it mattered." "I know, and I'm sorry." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't movie perfect, but there was something real in it. "I can forgive you," I said slowly, "but I'm not going to forget, and I'm not going back to who I was before Christmas." "I wouldn't ask you to." We talked about what would change. If they wanted me to babysit, they'd ask, not assume. If I said no, that was final. No guilt trips, no smear campaigns. And if it was actual childcare and not just family time, they'd pay me like they'd pay anyone else. For the first time, I heard her flinch at the idea of paying for labor she'd been getting free for a decade. "I can do that," she said quietly. "One more thing," I added. "If you ever tell anyone I promised something I didn't, we're done." She was quiet for a long moment. "That's not who I want to be," she finally said. "I don't like the way I sounded this year. I don't like that you had to hurt us to get me to listen." A few weeks later, my sister texted, "We're thinking about a family barbecue in the spring. No babysitting, just hanging out. You in?" My brother followed up separately, which he'd never done before. "Hey, Nat, I get it now. Sorry I never said anything before. Hope you'll come." For the first time, it sounded like an invitation, not an assignment. Maybe that's the real revenge. Not screaming, not dramatic disowning, but forcing people to rebuild their world without assuming you're the foundation they get to stand on for free. I don't know how next Christmas will look. Maybe I'll be there, sharing hot chocolate and laughing with my nieces and nephews while my siblings take their own turns putting kids to bed. Maybe I'll be watching waves roll in somewhere warm. What I do know is this. They finally understand that if they want me in their lives, they have to treat me like a person, not a resource. They felt, in one brutal holiday, exactly how heavy the load is when I'm not there to carry it. And my mother, the woman who gasped, "This can't be happening," now knows her perfect plans fall apart without my consent, not my compliance, my consent. So tell me, Was I wrong for stepping back and letting them feel the chaos they'd always dumped on me? Or was this the only way to make them finally see me as more than the built-in babysitter? Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles. Zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.